You are listening to Been There, Done That. We present some of the smartest people connected to the business of coffee. People who've succeeded in the tough grind of hospitality by staying ahead of the rest. So join us as we explore the secrets to their success and help you accelerate your business. This show is brought to you by the Coffee Commune, where the coffee community comes to collaborate. Enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Phil DeBella and you're listening to another episode of Been There, Done That, where we bring people with lots of experience and know-how from the industry to help you be better tomorrow than today. Today I have Linda Dang, the Chief Executive Officer and Director of Growth Management and Financial Advisory at e.Advisory Accountants. Have I pronounced that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Perfect. Welcome, Linda, to the show. So Linda's got a hospitality accountant turned business growth consultant with over a decade of experience in accounting, bookkeeping and advisory services. As the founder and CEO of e.Advisory, she leverages her background in hospitality management to provide practical, industry-focused advice to small, medium-sized businesses. Welcome, Linda.
Thanks, Phil. It's good to be here.
Tell me, are you a coffee drinker?
I love coffee.
Beautiful. And tell me a little bit about your hospitality background.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, firstly, I started off as an accountant. I did a lot of tax returns and I very quickly realized that I didn't like sitting behind the computer and just talking to my computer.
Yes.
So I ventured out and I stumbled across a company that actually worked with hospitality. So that's where I first got my experience from. And I started my own business during COVID. So it's been 6 years now, helping nightclubs. Actually, my first client was a nightclub. They're still with me to this day. And yeah, I work with a lot of cafe owners all the way up to hotels and surf clubs.
Beautiful. And okay, we brought you in specifically. I mean, you're an expert in many areas of advisory, but today we want to really explore this concept of Payday Superannuation, which is coming into effect soon. So correct me if I'm wrong, is it 1st of July?
1st of July, that's correct.
So 1st of July, for those of you that don't know, the listeners, you'll be required to be paying your superannuation on your payroll, which we'll explore a bit further, and Linda can tell us what that actually means. But the ATO's made some of the biggest changes to superannuation we've seen in so many years. So in plain English, how would you explain Payday Super and why is the government moving away from the old system to this new system?
Absolutely. So Payday Super is essentially paying super as you pay wages. So whether you do it weekly, fortnightly or monthly, you have to pay super at the same time. And the whole reason behind ATO switching from quarterly to Payday Super is so that employees can guarantee, I suppose, that they will have superannuation in their bank account every single week or every pay run. In the event if a business goes insolvent, they can't get the super back.
It's one of those things. Obviously, the biggest effect on this is going to be what? Cash flow.
Cash flow. Yes, absolutely.
And what are some of the suggestions you're making to your clients to be ready for this?
I always tell my client, if you can start now, start now. This way, you can prevent any errors that might pop up from 1st of July. You can catch them earlier and you sort of know your cash flow. So as you're paying super every week or every time you pay your wages, you will know how much it's going to hit your bank account.
Yeah, so that's some good advice there. Key takeaway for the listeners is obviously don't wait till the 1st of July. Try and implement the system as soon as possible. And as we know, the ATO, for a bit of background for the listeners, ATO's number one focus has always been on workers' superannuation. It is their number one red flag. If you're not up to date with your superannuation, then you must be and you should be, because it is the number one red flag for an ATO. They're happy for you to owe them money, but certainly not happy for you to owe your workers money, which is a good thing, obviously, from retrospect. Let's talk about the Clearinghouse Shutdown. So many small businesses rely on the ATO's Small Business Superannuation Clearinghouse because it's free. Why is it being retired and what does the disappearance mean for the average small operator?
Well, the clearance house is really operating for those that pay on a quarterly basis. So the clearinghouse itself doesn't really allow for instant payment to be dispersed to super funds. So they're removing this because come Payday Super, you have to pay super into your employee's account within the 7 business days. So they're shutting that down, but there are different options out there. Free options through any super fund, Host Plus, even Australian Super. You can set up a free employer portal and you can just add your employees into it. Or if you have a payroll software, that should be embedded anyway. But that, again, is a subscription cost.
Yeah. Tell me, so what are your, from experience, what are some of your recommendations in terms of Host Plus you mentioned and then obviously payroll systems? What are some of the tips you'd give some of the listeners of ones they should be exploring? Because there are some systems that are better than others, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess if you have a team of 5 or less than 5, Host Plus Quick Super is the easiest one to set up. It's also also free. But if you've got a team more than 5 where you have to track all their awards, the penalty rates, probably going with a payroll software like FoundU or Tanda or even Deputy that can calculate it all for you, as Payday Super incorporates not only ordinary times earnings, it will include your commissions or any bonuses that an employee may receive. So that's being broadened, I suppose, in terms of what's...
And I suppose also too, what I like about the payroll software is that it also takes into account the awards, and we've seen a lot of people over the years get caught out with the awards because a lot of complex awards in hospitality before 7 a.m, after 7 p.m, different times of days, different classes. There's a lot of different awards. So I'm a big fan of the payroll software because obviously it does this all for you. And obviously now with the superannuation changes, it helps with that as well. You're finding the same sort of experience with your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. It helps with the onboarding as well. So you don't fully onboard an employee until they've filled out every single piece of information you need. So your tax file numbers, your superannuation details as well. So they can't start work until all that information is provided to the manager. So that's what I love about the software. And it calculates any errors as well, so you can pick it up quickly.
Yeah, makes sense. Tell me, so if we're looking at software health check, we often hear about the new payments platform in banking. How does that technology bridge the gap between running a payroll on a Friday and the super fund receiving that money?
With that, it means that the money that you transfer into the bank account, it's instantly dispersed out, I suppose. Okay. So it gets paid out instantly. And that's something you couldn't do with a small business clearinghouse within ATO because it would take more than 7 days for it to disperse.
All right. And does systems like Xero and MyOb and all that sort of stuff, how do they integrate? How does that work?
Yeah, so Xero and MyOb, they all have their own payroll software systems. Same thing, you onboard your employees. It will flag errors as well. So if they haven't included their super details, it will flag that up in the system for them. However, ATO has sort of provided a leeway where if it's a new employee to the business owners has 20 days to get the super details, but that's only in the first pay run. So second pay run, they must have the super details. Otherwise, penalties would apply.
Isn't it crazy? And because it's new too, we don't know how lenient or how tough they're going to be. So
no, we'll just have to assume that's going to be tough.
Okay, yeah. So it's expect the worst, right?
Yes.
So keeping your data clean, right? We know that bad data is a number one cause of payment failures and people don't collect the right data. With Payday Super, there's no longer a 28-day buffer to fix errors, all this sort of stuff. So talk us through how you're advising clients on best way forward in that respect, because from all comms we're hearing, it's going to be rolled out very strictly and toughly.
Yes, definitely really strictly. I always advise clients, if you can start Payday Super, just paying superannuation with wages now and do it. So again, that way you can pick up errors if they come up, and you also can look at your cash flow. So if you know that it's going to be a hit on to cash flow, look at different ways of improving the business or even bringing more revenue into the business coverage.
Okay. And they're talking about this stapling rule. What's that actually mean for casual and part-time staff? That's for the listeners listening.
So your staple super fund is really a fund if an employee's had a super account created for them by an old employer, you can simply go through the ATO portal to find out what the super fund details are. So they don't necessarily have to join your employer super fund. You can find out those details first because they might have a super fund that they're not too sure of or not aware of.
All right. And how do you bridge them all together then? How do they want people to work with it around that? Is it up to the employee or the employer?
It's up to the employer. So if the employers come back saying, I don't know my super fund, the employer would then have to log into the ATO portal or even talk to their accountants who would have access to pull out that information. So it takes probably 5 to 10 minutes for ATO to generate a report that shows all the information. So if there is no staple super fund, then they would have to join the employer's fund.
Join into. So, and let's talk about penalties. So the scary part is that they're saying there's going to be penalties. How does that look like?
Absolutely. So penalties work on, so it's general interest charges. It gets compounded every single day. So that works out to be 0.03% every single day if you don't pay super in time. So coming the 1st of July, you'll have your 30th of June quarter super to be paid by 28th of July, plus your payday super. So keeping those, ensuring that those are paid on time. Otherwise, yes. Penalty charges, 3.03%.
Isn't that crazy? And again, let's be fair, it's new. So it's every industry in Australia and applies to all workers. So we just don't know how hard or strict or how the government's going to react to this, right? And what's your gut feel? What do you think's going to happen? Because it's a pretty big change It's a big ask. Just in Queensland alone, there's 500,000 micro, small and medium businesses in just Queensland alone.
Yep.
How do you see this rolling out from your experience?
I can see there being a lag. There'll be a lot of small businesses probably looking at the news, nodding their heads along, but come 1st of July, they won't be prepared. And that's the worst situation because ATO is going to come, they're going to do the red flag, they're going to send out letters, and that's the last thing you want as a small business owner, trying to do the right thing and growing the business.
Yeah, the key is going to be, I see that is people not being prepared, and it's another level of compliance. So,
Yes.
Give us some tips, right? Give the listeners some tips on what they should be doing. Obviously, they should be contacting people like yourself, and they should be looking at advisory consultants like yourself that have experience that can help them navigate. Tell them, if somebody reached out to you and said, hey, I need help, what are some of the things, not just around this, that you would do to help them with your business? Tell us a bit about what your business does further in depth.
Yeah, absolutely. So when a potential client reaches out to me, I love to find out about their business and about themselves as well. I love to see where they see their business heading, I suppose, if they have a plan, and finding out their pain points. And most of the time, they might have a software like Xero or MyOb, but they might not be utilizing all the tools within it. So my role is to guide them through it, really talk them through the different aspects that they haven't touched on or even used. Payroll, for example, there might be errors popping up. That's a very simple fix from my end, but they might not know of it. So really walking them through the platform, what they need to do, compliances that they might not know of, I suppose, as a business owner, and guiding them. So my role is to guide them to make sure that they are compliant, they are doing the right things, and to themselves also.
And someone talks about affordability, because a lot of people say, hey, it's just another cost, or it's another.
Yeah.
Obviously, my take on it is that I always say to people, don't think of it might be an upfront cost now, but what's it going to save you in the long run? So tell me from experience. Obviously, you've got some great clients that might have been hesitant to choose you in the beginning, but have now certainly come back and said, hey, best thing I've done. So somebody that's worrying about cost, what would you say to them?
Absolutely. Cost is the main factor. It's an investment. So accounting and bookkeeping is always an investment. It takes the admin burden off a business owner, but they don't realize it until it's really taken off their shoulders. So you're right. There are a lot of clients that have come to me. I've given them the advice. I've even put into Word documents so they get to take it away. They get to implement it. And as they implement it, that's when they start realizing that, hey, this isn't my forte. I need to get some help in so then I can focus on the bigger picture, which is dealing front of house, serving customers, making coffee, even buying better, just making revenue better for them. So, admin stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And tell us, so in the hospitality industry, what's some of the biggest problems that you've seen working with customers now, with clients, now that we've got you in front of us and obviously and your experience? So tell us some of the biggest problems you're seeing besides just obviously what's coming with Payroll Super.
Payday Super is a really small one. Biggest problems is probably tax invoices, not having invoices for expenses. A lot of the times clients might be looking at the bank account and using that to forecast if they can afford a new piece of equipment. And most of the time you can, most of the time it really affects cash flow, and cash flow in terms of, paying your suppliers, paying employees in time for on time for wages. So really not having an understanding of how the whole bookkeeping works. I get a lot of clients that ask me, can I reduce my BAS? Now BAS is your GST component plus your PAYG. So there's not much we can do to reduce it. It's just being educated around what you're spending. It's what you're spending. That's the most important part.
Yeah, and know your numbers, right? We talk about it in our industries. There's so many people in this industry that just don't know their numbers, and they need to know their numbers. The money coming into your cash register or coming through to your ATM through your FBOS is not yours until you've paid all your expenses. That's
correct. And also recording it properly too. So if you have a mistake, you want to pick it up the day afterwards, not a month after or a week after. Sometimes the amount could be huge and it's in cash form, so it's liquid cash that you're missing.
Yeah. Great points. So tell me, while we got you, what other tips and tricks would you like to tell people about that they need to be across, and how else can you help them in their business?
Yeah, absolutely. So firstly, start Payday Super now. So just start Payday Super so then you can know your cash flow. And then secondly, look at your payroll software as well, seeing if you are finding errors as you process the super that some employees haven't provided their details. Because with that, you will need to follow up and ensure that every employee, all the details are correct for their tax, for the super, but just having a review of the system. So doing an audit.
Yeah, auditing. And a big one is get the people around you that you need to help you to get to where you need to be, right?
Yes, absolutely. And also reach out for help
Yeah,
too.
Matt, and where can they find you?
Social media, my website, e.Advisory.com.au, Instagram, EadvisoryAC. I do a lot of videos as well, just talking about little snippets of information that I like to sort of send out every week.
And of course, through the Coffee Commune. So you're a proud partner here at the Coffee Commune. We're glad to have you, and obviously helping our clients and helping our community be the best versions of themselves. So, Linda, I appreciate your time. Payday Super is obviously a big one. There's nothing else we've missed that people should be across?
Not right now.
Yeah, but we'll probably do a follow-up later in the year and see how people have gone across it, and maybe bring in some clients and interview them with you on the show to see how they've gone across it. But until then, I really, really appreciate you not only being part of the commune, but I appreciate you sharing your expertise and sharing your knowledge. And for the listeners, I always say that we think we can do it alone and we can't. Advisory accountants, Linda and her team, are here to help you. They're here to help you be a better version of yourself. They're here to help you be better tomorrow than today. So with the expertise that these people have, they can help you accelerate your potential, which is what it's all about. And that's why we have episodes and podcasts of Been There, Done That, so we can bring great people to the show to tell you about what's going on. But the Payday Super is a major change. You've explained it well. There's obviously, if you need to know a lot more, get in touch with Linda. The details will be attached to the show and you can reach out, or you can contact us here at the Coffee Commune and we can put you in touch for sure. But Linda, thank you so much for all the work you're doing. I know there's a lot of small, medium businesses out there that are doing better because they've got people like you helping them. So we really appreciate you being on the show and we really appreciate your knowledge.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for having me.
Take care. That's a wrap for today. Keep listening for more episodes of Been There and Done That. The Coffee Commune is here to help accelerate your potential. We want you to be better tomorrow than today. Until next time, you've been listening to Phil DiBella. I'm the founder and managing director of the Coffee Commune, a place where the coffee community comes to collaborate.